What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Paul the Plant Parent with a video on how are they doing. Mostly we have Rex begonias in water culture, propagating, some of them in the acrylic, and just some other things. Just an update to show you guys what's been going on. First things first, I want to show you this Rex begonia leaf that has been in water for a little while. I have something else written on it, but it has nothing to do with this plant. You can see it's got some nice roots growing there, but there were no plants. So I'm like, what's going on? But then I looked at the top, and sure enough, there's a plant growing out of the base. Not too shabby. So yeah, what I'm going to end up doing, obviously when I pot this one up, probably in the acrylic, I'm going to pot it all the way up to the base, just so that this petiole, the leaf stem, will get roots all along it. I don't want anything to suffer or have any issues. But yeah, that is the newest development on that one. Here is the Jurassic, I believe it's Silver Points, something like that. And, you know, a bunch of the other ones that have been growing nicely. I've got a lot of, like a growth spurt, let's say, in a lot of these new leaves popping up. You can see the colors are really nice. Look at that one, that's gorgeous back there. And I think I can owe that to the humidity in here. Here's one that I recently transferred over, doing great. The humidity in here in the summertime in this grow space is about 70%. That's what it is today, at least. So yeah, we've got a lot of humidity and these plants are loving it. So definitely something to take into account when you're going to be propagating. Another cool update is the Fedora. These were the 3 leaf cuttings that I had in water. I transferred them over to, I believe this is the nylon, and don't see really any roots around the edges, which is fine. They're very small fibrous roots, but look at these crowns. They are just going crazy. Lots of fun leaves, nice color. They're under the light, so they're getting everything that they want. These I feed, right now, the last time I fed them, it wasn't Maxi Grow. I think it was an orchid fertilizer. I figured let me give that a shot and see what happens, and definitely no signs of slowing down or anything like that, so doing great. One that has been taking its time, let's put it that way, is back there, right here in the blue yarn. This is the, this was a water propagation of Escargot. And while there are 2 leaves there showing, they're not really, they're not showing the same growth as the others. I'm not sure if it was the cutting, if the leaf was compromised, but as you can see, most of the others have been doing just fine. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But here, this is another Rhizomatous Begonia, not necessarily a Rex, really pretty. I love the veins on this, the coloring. And I just got a new leaf. So this one is complete. These were the old leaves from when the plant was sent to me. It's been a little while, but we had one new leaf that was damaged because it was, I guess it was dried in a dry environment. But this new leaf, being in the yarn, is doing really, really well. You can see it's complete, it's healthy looking, and I'm looking forward to more of those. Something else I did here was I decided to start a propagation in the yarn, okay? And I covered it. I kept it, you know, because it's not in just water. If it was in water, I wouldn't need to cover it, but since it's not in complete water, I decided, okay, let me put a little greenhouse on it. And I recently was checking, and sure enough, we've got babies. So I'm going to start peeling back this yarn so that the new leaves can come out. As you can see, they were kind of hidden in there. But it worked. It's doing great. I'm not sure how many crowns so far, but sometimes they grow out of the back of the leaf as well. And this down here is the petiole. So I don't know if there are any babies coming out of that, but it's not dying and it's not wilting. So I have a funny feeling it took root. This one here, that's the leaf stem. I have a funny feeling it took root as well. So I'm just going to keep these in this medium, of course, because as you can see, things have been doing really well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Every time I start them out in soil, I have issues, you know? I mean, I started propagating. I think I did a video recently on propagating these leaves in 50% perlite, 50% potting medium. We'll see how that goes. I'm keeping my eye on it, but nothing has been as easy as this. You know, you can see it's just, I didn't even water this. After I potted this up, I made sure that it was very, very hydrated, the yarn, and I put this top over it. I have not watered it at all. I checked it once, and that's when I noticed, oh, we've got babies. But I haven't watered it. So really easy. You just forget about it. Keep it under, you know, light so it has some light. But, oh my God, it's so easy that way. It really is. Another update on just part of the yarn garden in general is this Coleus. As you can see, it's doing extremely well. I have not pinched it back because I just wanted to see how tall it would get. It's still growing, and it's in a small amount of yarn. I believe this is polyester yarn. So as you can see, the roots went nuts, and sometimes I forget to water it, but this particular yarn is very good with holding on to as much moisture as it can so it doesn't completely dry out. And as you can see, let me back up a little, you can see, this plant is really doing great. I believe it was just down here when I first did it. You can see all the new growth. The new growth is the light green, and it just shot up. You know, you can see the older growth is starting to get brownish. So I believe it was right about here, and it's grown all of this simply in the yarn, and minimal yarn at that. So what does that mean? I don't know, but I just think it's awesome. What else? What else? I have a cane begonia back there. This is in a self-watering planter with nothing but the yarn in it. Just gave me a new leaf. It had that new leaf first, then this new leaf, and there's a new growth point, a new leaf coming out there. So very exciting to see that. I'm very excited about that. And what else? Oh, yes, the Philodendron Brazil. Still kicking butt in the yarn. Not sure if this is acrylic or polyester, but as you can see, it went out of control. The roots are just going crazy. And the plant looks healthy, doing well, it's getting its feed. It's not in a lot of light. If I had it under some lights, it probably would grow even faster, but there's just only so much room in the area here, so no light for this one, but it's not stopping it. You know, look at those roots. I just love how that looks. Oh my goodness. So that's that one. Oh, and I wanted to show you guys this thing, all right? This is a cutting of a lipstick plant, and I had a video on my lipstick plant recently, and I have this in another area upstairs in a different room. And I noticed, I guess with all the plants that were in that area, because there are a lot, I guess bumping into it, somebody must have bumped into it, and maybe a piece fell off. So this piece was just on the table by itself, right? And I said, oh man, I don't want to lose it. So put it in some water. And it was a few weeks in water, and absolutely nothing happened. The end, the cut end, just did not show any signs of anything, no development of any kind. So I said, all right, let's test this out once again and put it in some of the yarn. And sure enough, I got 2 little roots starting to grow out now. And it's only been, I don't know, like 3 days, 4 days maybe. And it's already showing roots. And I really, really like this method. Whether you're just propagating in it or you're growing in it, nylon, polyester, acrylic. Acrylic is really cool if it's soft. It works really well. Just a comment on that though. If you're going to just propagate plants in this medium, I definitely recommend using a thick-rooted plant like an Escargot or an orchid even, because I've done orchids in there when I put them in the ICU. Hoya, anything that has thick roots. Also the philodendrons, the aroids, any of the aroids do really, really, really well in it. The reason why I'm saying that is because the finer fibrous rooted plants, like the begonias, they're hard to transplant out of this because the roots are so thin and tiny and like very, very soft and break off very easily. So if you're gonna pull them out of the yarn, you're obviously gonna lose a lot of the roots. Not all of them, but you lose a lot of the roots. I've been able to transfer them out of the yarn without an issue, as far as like setback and the plant declining, never decline. But if you want to keep as many roots as possible and you're going to propagate in the yarn, whatever form of yarn it is, whatever plastic medium, I definitely recommend plants that are of the thicker, larger roots. Otherwise, like for these guys, anything that has the finer fibrous roots, I would just keep growing them in the yarn. You know, if it starts to show like something's not right, just rinse it out, flush out the yarn, flush it under the sink even, and just dump out everything and clean it completely, and then keep going. I've had to do that only a couple of times. Something like this one here got set back. This is a Coleus. It's still in the same yarn. This isn't the best yarn. It dries out really quickly in the top. So I don't get that type of yarn anymore. The yarn I get now is more soft acrylic. But yeah, I flushed it out. I cleaned out the yarn. I let the water run through it and take out anything that had rotten or anything that had died, any debris, and it's back. So I know it's possible, but just my own experimentation shows if you're just propagating, the thicker rooted plants are easier to transplant out of the yarn if you're going to pot them up in traditional medium or hydroponics, whatever. All right, another plant here I wanted to show you is this. This is Looking Glass Cane Begonia. Beautiful, beautiful plant. I just think these leaves are fantastic. This was just a cutting that I had gotten. I have another actual potted plant upstairs, but it's just a small, it's like a stem with a leaf. That's it. That's how I got it, with another leaf, but the leaf was old and it eventually fell off, and it's getting new leaves eventually. But just in plain old water, this cutting was very dehydrated, but it's doing fantastically. Look at this. The leaves are just fantastic, and we're getting some roots finally. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I don't know if I'm going to keep it in water longer. I'm probably going to keep it in water longer, but I don't know if I'm going to put this into the acrylic medium or if I'm going to put it in semi-hydro like lava rock or leca. I'm not sure. I have some, here's another begonia in lava rock. Some of them are in leca. There's one back there as well. And they're doing okay, but I see the results that I get from the acrylic or the other types of yarn, and I kind of like, I get the urge to want to move everything over, but I'm gonna resist it. I'm not gonna take these guys out of here. This one's already blooming, which is nice, and this is where it lives permanently, in this spot under this little light. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but at least I have options, right? It's no good when you don't have options. This is another cane begonia here that had absolutely no roots, so I said, let me try rooting this in the lava rock. And I can't see any roots, but let me take this out of here so you guys can see it. I can't yet see the roots, but the plant perked up because it was wilting when I first put it in. Let me see, I don't see anything, nah. But yeah, it perked up, and so far so good. It's been a couple weeks for this guy. Just put that back, all right. But anyway, oh, something else that I was doing, I want to show you guys. I like to experiment with Coleus because Coleus is really easy, just all around. So this is a Coleus that I had just 2 cuttings, and I said, all right, I want to use some perlite, okay, but I don't want this to wilt at all. I want it to root very quickly, and in strict perlite, like strictly perlite, nothing else included, it dries out pretty quickly because, you know, perlite doesn't hold water as well as it wicks the water. So what I did was I cut up some of the acrylic, and I put pieces of the acrylic into the perlite, and sure enough, it holds more water. I don't have to keep a reservoir because there is no reservoir on the bottom there, and the plant is doing just fine, and it rooted in to the medium. So another tip, if you want to give it a shot, if you like to root plants in perlite but you don't want to do a prop box, you don't want to use the bag method, and you want to just use perlite, try cutting up some acrylic yarn in small pieces, soft acrylic yarn, small pieces like that, and mix it in with your perlite, because as you can see, it has worked. And even when the perlite is dry, it's all crumbly and it's moving around. I see some roots in there. Even though it dries up, that yarn does hold on to more moisture than the perlite would on its own. So just something, if you want to experiment, this is the place to be, right? That's what I'm saying. Alrighty. And one more I'm just going to show you now. Oh, actually, I got so many more I want to show you. All right. This was another Rhizomatous Begonia that was not doing well. I tried to keep it in soil. It just hated it. It hated it here. I mean, they love soil when they're in a different environment. But when they are here, for some reason, they hate the soil. So I moved it into the yarn, and I believe this is nylon. And you can see all the new leaves. The small leaves are all the new leaves. This is the old leaf. You could see how unhappy it was. These are older leaves also, very unhappy. New leaves and the yarn, beautiful. Look at the coloring on that. Look at the shape. It's just beautiful. It's doing really, really well. It loves its new home. Let's see if you can see any roots. Maybe not. I see one over there. I don't know if you could see it right going down there. But the roots are so fine. It's hard to spot them all the time. But look at how great it's doing. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? It's doing so well. The leaves are gorgeous. I'm glad I transferred it because I probably would have lost it. I even have a leaf I've been trying to propagate, and it has roots finally, but it's taking forever to grow the plant. So, yeah, anyway, saved my plant, and I will keep saying it, and I don't care what anybody says. The proof is in my videos, right? That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, and another oldie but goodie. This one kind of stalled for a little while, so I moved it directly under the lights, and we've got new growth. A new crown, new leaves. This one's been in polyester for quite some time. This one needs to be watered. You can see when there's condensation, it means there's not a lot of moisture in there. There are some roots. Again, Rex begonia and other begonias with fibrous roots in particular don't, the roots are very small. But you can see this leaf up here was not doing well, and I said, something's not right. Let me flush it out. I flushed it out because I hadn't been flushing. I'm just experimenting, So I flushed it out, got rid of all of the old salts, and then I put it with some fresh food and water and under the lights, and boom, that's what it needed. It's starting to grow again. So just experimentation, but I'm finding my way through and loving these results. Just loving it, loving it. Anyway, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, on the process that I'm using, that I'm experimenting with, just reach out as usual. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to be notified. And I will see you in the next video.